Okay, so you both know me, and you both have had clearings from me. So as there isn't anybody else who's joined that hasn't actually had anything. Oh, hang on a minute, Tina's gone back out again. Who hasn't had a clearing from me, then your questions might be quite different. Which is absolutely fine. But what I'll do is I'll go through the basics of what I do and show you how I do it, and then you can ask any questions when you're ready. Yeah,
Yes.
that's okay. Cool, fantastic. Right. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to the four pendulums that I do most of my work with. Um, so when I am identifying and clearing pathogens, this is the one that I use. It's called the purple Thoth. And it's been, what's the word? What's the word? I've kind of, lost the words now, programmed it. I've programmed it specifically to identify and clear pathogens. So this is the one that I usually use for that. However, it can be used for other purposes as well, but this is what I tend to use. Now, when it comes to chakra balancing or color healing, I use my Macabre because this is a pendulum that has been specifically programmed for that. It's very light and it moves very, very quickly and easily, as you can see. When it comes to asking questions, then if I am doing removing emotional blocks, or if I'm asking questions around which traditional Chinese medicine meridian is blocked or needs balancing, this is the Akashic, and this is what I use for that. And then when I'm doing one-on-one healing, so for example, if somebody has a sore wrist, arthritis, or any pain in their body, and I'm with them on a one-to-one basis, I use my 3D healer pendulum. And this is the one I use for that. That's incredibly effective. I'm just going to let somebody else in the room now. Got Margie. Welcome, Margie. I was just showing everyone my pendulums. Just checking that Margie is on. Right, one moment. Let me just check Margie is in and she's okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. Right, let's go back. So those are the four pendulums. Margie, we've just covered the four pendulums that I normally use, and I think you're quite familiar with all of them. So what I'm going to do now is kind of like talk you through how I've programmed my pendulum and how I would go about actually identifying what pathogen is contributing to what symptoms. So, as I said, my purple Thoth is what I use to actually identify pathogens, metals, and toxins that are contributing to any symptom. And before I do any work, I go through what I call a hygiene process. So it's a little bit like a meditation where I would ground myself, connect to my heart center, connect to my higher self, protect myself, and set the intention that my work is protected, accurate, and efficient for those that I choose to serve. So I've already done all of that. And the way that I have programmed my pendulum is that if the answer is yes, it goes to the left. It's just going to show you that. And if it's a no, it will go to the right. And if it's a maybe or you need to ask another question, it just goes backward and forward. So that's how I basically program my pendulum. That's what I know, what it's telling me. Okay. Any questions from anyone so far? It's fine if not.
All good.
Okay, cool. Right. So let me show you how I would identify a pathogen, metal, or toxin contributing to somebody's symptom. So let me take me for an example first. So I haven't been great over the last couple of days, and I have had clearings, but I just want to check in and make sure that there isn't anything else that I need to clear, because I haven't done that today. So my question will be, my creator, infinite light and loving source, are there any pathogens, metals, or toxins that are priority for me to clear for myself today for my highest good? And it's given me a yes. So there is something there that still needs clearing for me. So I know that I've had issues with my chest, but I'm going to be asked to be guided to what category will I find the pathogen that is directly contributing to the tightness in my chest. And I have a chart that I use to help guide my pendulum. So my creator, infinite light, loving source, guide me to the category of where I will find a pathogen that is directly contributing to the tightness in my chest. And it's actually showing me the flu section. So I know it's the pathogen in the flu section. So I have access to about 1,500 pathogens, but there are often times where there are other strains, and I will then be guided by the pendulum to know whether it is another pathogen that is not on my list, and I will then have to do further research. But I'm going to go to the flu section, which I have here in front of me, and then I'm going to break it down even further and ask whether it's a bacteria or a virus. So, my creator, infinite light and loving source, is it a bacteria that is directly contributing to my chest issues? It's a bacteria. Okay. So, is it a strain of Haemophilus influenza? No, I don't know whether you can see that, but my pendulum's going the other way. Is it a strain of Staphylococcus? No. Okay. Is it a strain of Haemophilus? Is it a different strain of Haemophilus influenza? Is it a different strain? No. Is it another strain of Staphylococcus? Yeah. Okay. Is it Staphylococcus pneumoniae? Yes. Okay. So I know that it is Staphylococcus pneumoniae, and it's automatically started clearing. As you can see, before I've even asked it to, it started clearing. When it goes round, it means it's working, it's doing its clearing work. So it does that sometimes. Sometimes I don't even have to say it, it just does it. Okay, once it's stopped going round, it means it's done its work, it's cleared it. But what I then do is just verify that. So, my creator, infinite light and loving source, do I still have a strain of Staphylococcus pneumoniae? No. So it's gone. So that is basically how I identify the pathogens that are creating the symptoms in your body. Now, for me, because I have clearings quite often, I don't bother checking, have I got a tolerance? With anybody else that I'm working with, before I would actually go in and clear anything, I would check to see how many clearings they could tolerate in any one day without anxiety, overwhelm, or ill effect, because the clearings can be very powerful, especially if you're not used to having energy work done. But also, if you are not well, or you're very dehydrated, or you're very stressed out, the pendulum will come back to me and probably say they can't tolerate more than one, or you need to slow the energy down. So sometimes I have to do that with my clients, but with me, I didn't bother doing that because I'm quite used to it. So, any questions around that before I move on about how I do it? No? Well, I suppose you've all had them, so. Okay. All right, so next step is I can either do, I know all of you have had clearings today apart from Tina. So I could do a clearing on Tina. Alternatively, I can balance all of your chakras for you.
I think you should balance chakras, Mel, because I'm going to need to leave in a minute.
Okay, all right then, darling.
Thank you, babe.
All right. Would all of you be happy for me to balance your chakras?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm now going to balance your chakras. My great. Okay. That's all of your chakras balanced. So that's basically it for now. Are there any other questions?
You mentioned there's 1,500 pathogens.
Oh,
How
there's a
do
lot more than that.
I bet. How do you know, like, whether it's a bacteria, virus, or fungus?
Mhm. Oh, well, because it's on my list, on my chart that I have in front of me. I'll show you. It actually, I don't know whether you can see that. It tells me whether it's a bacteria,
Oh.
fungal, or virus. But also sometimes before I even go there, I have another chart that I use, which pinpoints what it is, and sometimes makes it easier. For example, I would use that when it comes to digestion, skin, or respiratory. There's just like so many that it's easier to go to this chart first and say, right, tell me what kind of a pathogen it is, than it is to look at the list, the long lists of pathogens that I have. So yeah, I have 1,500, but there are way more than that. And often there's always new strains coming in, especially like since COVID. There are so many different strains. So often I will sense from my pendulum, if it's not quite giving me a yes, if it's quite slow in responding, then I know what it's telling me is actually, it is kind of that one, but it's a different strain. And then I would do the research and validate it, but verify it along with the client's symptoms to pinpoint the right one. And then it gets added to my list. So my list is continuously getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Does that answer your question, Shay?
Yeah, it does. And then
Yeah.
I know you work on whatever we're currently dealing with now, but do you ever
Mhm.
test to see like when did this, like what age was this person when it started? Like where
Yeah.
the root of it is?
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So yes and no. So when I identify a pathogen that needs clearing, well, okay, let me go back a step. I can only see pathogens that are resonating at toxic level right here and now when I'm doing the work. Okay. So if there is something underneath, if there are deeper layers, I can't see them until they rise to a toxic level and I can energetically see them, if you get what I mean.
Okay, that makes sense.
But when I do identify a pathogen, yeah, good. When I do identify a pathogen, I always ask what layer is it at right now? Because that tells me whether or not it's something that is really flaring and acute right now, or whether it's something that has surfaced previously from something that you've had previously, if that makes sense. And the reason why that's quite important is because I can see patterns and I can see whether there are deeper layers of other things. So if something isn't acute and it comes up at, I call it a D10, a D12 is flaring, a D10 is you caught it a few months ago, it's possible that there are other layers of that particular pathogen that are way below that, but aren't causing you a problem, so I can't see them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah. Okay. Any other
Very
questions?
deep work.
It is. I've been practicing for over 5 years. I can hardly believe it myself. Yeah, I started studying 5 years ago, and it took a year to qualify, and I practiced for about 2 years before I actually started taking on board clients. So it is, and you're always learning. There's always that, you're always learning. You're always kind of like finding new things or kind of picking up stuff that you thought, wow, I never knew that also did that as well. But it does because you do the research on it. So it's really interesting. Yeah, I love it, as you can tell. Any other questions?
I
No?
have a question.
Yeah, sure.
It's a couple questions. Because sometimes you will say, well, you could only tolerate this amount or one pathogen or two or whatever. How does tolerance factor in? How do you determine that? And what does the person in turn have to, do to, besides drinking a lot of water? Like what is needed from the person, the recipient, the person you're working with?
Okay. Okay, so before I clear anybody, or before I actually ask what pathogens are contributing to what, I'll ask the question from with my pendulum, how many, like for example, how many pathogens can Margie tolerate today without me clearing, without anxiety, overwhelm, or ill effect? And the first one that I'll go to is it more than one? And it'll either give me, it's saying yes now. I've already cleared two for you because this morning it said it was no more than two. If it says yes to it's more than one, then my next question is it more than two? And then it's going no, because that's, today I was given two for you. So that's how I ask the question, that's how I determine it. The pendulum will guide me because what I forgot to mention is before I do this work, I obviously connect to your higher self. So I'm connected to your energy field, and that's where the answers are coming from, basically. So I'm being told you can't tolerate more than two today. And what anybody has to do after any clearing is drink lots of water. And the reason for that is I am clearing the toxin, but it's still in your body and it will remain in your body until it's flushed out. And the only way you can flush that out is by peeing it out. And the best way to pee it out is by drinking lots of water. So that's why you have to drink plenty of water. Now, if a person, subsequently finds that they've got a terrible headache or they're feeling very dizzy, that's normally a sign that they're not drinking enough water. But if a person does have like an adverse effect and the energy is too strong, then I can go back in and slow the energy down. So I can do that with my pendulum again. So if anyone sort of says, oh my God, I'm feeling terrible, I can't handle it, I am drinking water, but it's still not, I still feel awful, then I will go back in and slow the energy down. So it still does what it's supposed to do, but it does it over a longer and slower period. Has that answered your question, Margie?
It has. And then for someone receiving a clearing, what should they notice? When should they notice? Like, is it how quickly should they notice? Is that process different with each pathogen, with each person, with each? I'm just trying to find you questions.
Yeah, I would say no, that's fine. That's the whole purpose behind this is to be able to answer them. I think what you're saying is with regards to the effect that the pathogen has had on the symptom. Is that what you mean? How quickly does it have an effect on the symptom?
It's how quickly will the person being cleared feel the clearing.
Feel clearing. Okay.
Or notice, or yes.
So everyone is different. Yeah. Everyone is different. Yeah. Sorry, we can say something else. No. Okay. So everyone is different. Some people are really sensitive to energy. So some people will feel me going in and doing, or they'll know, they'll just know, oh my God, I'm sure she's doing it now, kind of thing. Some people are very sensitive to energy and can feel it. Other people can't feel anything, but it doesn't mean it's not working. It's just that everyone's different in that respect. So, for example, I work with energy all the time. I'm fairly sensitive, but when my teacher works on me, I don't often know that she's doing it. I did yesterday, but I don't always feel that she's doing it. So everyone is different. The clearing works straight away, but you may not always find that the symptom goes straight away. And there may be several reasons for that. Sometimes it's just like, it works just like that. And other times it can take up to 24 hours for you to see a release in the symptom. And sometimes you just won't see a release in the symptom because there's some other pathogen below it that is still contributing to your particular symptoms, especially if you have had something for a very long time. If you've had issues for a long period of time, that it is normal for there to be layers and layers of things before you actually start to see a real difference. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes.
I think Shayna's had to jump off now. I don't know whether Tina's still in the background. Tina, are you still there? I know she had to leave quite soon anyway. But apart from that, are there any other questions, Margie, that you'd like to ask me now that you got me? Hello? You're on mute. Hello. Margie? Are you there? Hello. Oh, let's have a look and see who's in the chatty chat. Okay. Okay. Right. So if there aren't any other questions, then it's for me to say thank you very much for attending today. I hope I've been able to answer some of the questions that you may have had. Feel free to contact me by WhatsApp if you have any more. But I hope to do these more regularly to enable more people, especially those that want to try it but are a little bit afraid of trying it because they don't really understand it. I want to try and hold these calls to try and answer their queries and allay any of their fears. So if you do know anybody that might benefit, then please share my next one. Probably won't be for another month now. And yeah, and the next thing that I've got and I'm putting together is my pendulum course, how to use a pendulum. So if that's something that you are interested in doing, I am going to be launching that in April. And I'm building it right now and having a lot of fun building it as well. So if there aren't any other questions, then that's it from me.